Hi, everyone. Welcome to our show today. Hey, Toni.
Hi, Bernadette. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful. So, we were having this conversation about subject to sale, and I was telling you that I had three broken-hearted, frustrated, just disillusioned clients
Mm.
who made an offer subject to sale, and now they lost that home and they are just so disillusioned about the process. So, can you tell us more about the pitfalls about subject to sale? And then what you guys are doing because you have subject to sale this year that has been quite successful. So can you
Yeah,
share more about that?
for sure. So subject to sale is never easy. It actually requires a high level of skill to execute everything properly because when you're navigating the sale of the home, as we know, the market's down right now. So that's going to be the hardest component. And then you also have their purchase that needs to be coordinated properly. So whenever we're doing subject to sales, and we've done five very successful ones where clients have moved up recently.
Wow.
But we always brace the client first because subject to sale transactions, 99% of the time, are going to be highly stressful on the client. And it's just the nature of navigating sale and buy. And remember, you also have on the sale of a home, if you're the seller, your buyer likely has their transaction that they need to sell as well. So it can be a cascading effect. What things would set a client up for success? Well, first and foremost, it's actually close contact with the mortgage broker because we want to know in a falling market, right? I would come to you and say, hey, Bernadette, depending on what the product is, if it's strata, it's still falling. So what are you running the numbers? Make sure that the pre-approval actually works. And is there a max number that we can purchase at if we sell 10% under where the market currently is? So there's always contingency plans. But I think it's in the setup and in that initial strategy and explaining to the client that it likely will be a stressful scenario. There's no way around it, but we'll try and navigate through it as best as possible. That generally helps.
Mhm.
Then when we get to the negotiations, there's actually a scenario that nobody talks about where even if you have a subject to sale in place, you can leave a client homeless if you don't use an extra special clause. We use that extra special clause. We've had our lawyers look it over. But there's about a week. It's hard to explain. There's about a week where if you don't account for it properly and the time doesn't line up for the client, that they can be left homeless. And so that's not ideal.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is you've got successful experience using a specific strategy that you have with your team. And so you give the client enough information, heads up, so they're aware. Because one of the feedback I got is I had no idea that this is going to be like this. So
Mhm.
you already navigated through that. And a second, you have a specific strategy to be successful with it, which obviously with those clients, it wasn't successful strategy because it collapsed. And then finally, there's a special specific clause that you use to protect the client so they are not homeless. Am
Correct.
I summarizing it correctly?
And so subject to sales are never easy, but they can be highly successful.
Beautiful. So now for our viewers out there who are interested, if you have a home and you really want to upsize or you want to downsize, and you are very, very worried about the best strategy to execute and worried about how it's going to be impact you, we're sharing the link to so for you to reach out to Toni, please go reach out to her, explain your situation, and again, if you're thinking of selling, just make sure that you have the right strategy. Any last minute comments, Toni?
No, Bernadette, thanks so much for having me on. And if anyone wants a conversation about this, can't wait to hear from you.
Beautiful. Thanks, Toni.
Bye, Bernadette.